Ever played a shooter and felt overwhelmed by too many operators, weapons, and mechanics? Do games like Battlefield or Call of Duty leave you lost in the chaos? If you want all the action without the clutter, then this might be the perfect game for you. Polygon is an FPS inspired by Battlefield but takes a simpler, more fun approach. It ditches the complicated mechanics for easy controls, a slick low-poly art style, and an atmosphere that keeps things light. Jumping into a game is quick and easy. Just hit the battle button to join a random match, or click the multiplayer tab to choose a server from the list. Want to start your own match? If you have a VIP membership, you can create your own matches. I'll explain more about that in a bit. Joining a friend is super easy. Just click the squad button and pick someone from your Steam friends list. They'll get an invite through chat, and once they accept, they'll join your team, putting you in charge as the squad leader. Right now, Polygon has two game modes, Conquest and King of the Hill. Each server supports up to 32 players, but according to the Steam store page, that number will eventually go up to 64. In King of the Hill, both teams have one spawn point and battle for control of a single spot on the map. In Conquest, teams fight to control different positions on the map. One cool feature in Polygon is its tutorial. Unlike other games that force you through a long, unskippable lesson, this one's short and optional. It's a quick video, and if you watch it, you get 3,000 in-game currency to spend on weapons and attachments. That's a great bonus for experienced players who don't need a tutorial, and a useful intro for players who just want to learn the basics fast. Some might say that playing through a tutorial is the best way to learn, but I think most gamers would agree being able to skip it is a huge plus. A game like this doesn't need a deep story. It's all about fast-paced, chaotic multiplayer fun. Sure, there's no single-player campaign or co-op mode, but the real question is, how much fun can you have, and what keeps you coming back? If you've ever played Battlefield or Call of Duty, you know the drill. Most players finish the campaign in a few hours or skip it entirely so they can dive straight into the multiplayer. And that's where the real action is. FPS games thrive on replay value, and while Polygon doesn't have a deep, impactful story, it more than makes up for it with the endless multiplayer mayhem. Like any multiplayer game, no two matches in Polygon are ever the same. One around your strategy might work perfectly, another not so much. Some games you'll go up against tough opponents, while others might feel like a breeze. This constant variety keeps each match feeling fresh and exciting, making you want to jump in again and again. At the time of this video, there were just over 500 players online, and that number has grown since last month. Looking at past data, the monthly peaks have stayed between 570 and 900 players, showing a solid and consistent player base. It'll be exciting to see how this game grows and what it can become in the next few years. There's a lot to like about this game, but a few things really stand out. I've touched on some already, but here are the main highlights. First, the weapons are great. Each gun has a slightly different feel, but you don't need hours of practice to be effective. During my playthrough, I only had access to a few weapons, but switching between them felt natural and easy. The visuals are awesome. Daytime maps are bright and colorful, while nighttime maps add variety without changing the gameplay. The game blends low poly and stylized assets to create a unique look. If you're into game development, you might recognize some of the assets from the Cinti Asset Store. But don't worry, this isn't just an asset flip. Of all the Steam games I've played using Cinti assets, this one stands out as one of the best. It pulls you into the action so well that you're not thinking about the assets, you're just having fun. Plus, the developers have customized them enough to make the game feel unique. The interface is really clean. Nothing is hidden or confusing, and it reminds me of classic Battlefield and Call of Duty menus, before they became a cluttered mess. From the moment you log in, everything is easy to understand and straightforward. Of course, like any other online game, you'll run into players accusing others of hacking or those who are just being rude. Unfortunately, this is part of multiplayer gaming. But overall, the community seems pretty chill. In my experience, players were helpful, answering questions, sharing enemy locations, and keeping the team focused. It's a nice change from the usual online chaos. I've been pretty positive about Polygon so far, but it's not without its flaws. The game's sound design is mostly solid. Footsteps are easy to hear, a must in any multiplayer shooter, and gunfire is clear depending on how close you are. Some maps feel a little too quiet in terms of ambient noise, but that's a minor issue. The bigger problem? Grenades. Unless you actually see one, there's no sound to warn you when it lands nearby. A simple sound cue or an indicator would make a huge difference. Speaking of grenades, throwing them isn't as smooth as shooting. They don't always land where you expect, and it takes practice to get them into tight spots. A throwing arc or making the throw line up better with the crosshair like in other shooters would improve this mechanic. Another issue is the iron sights on certain guns. When tracking a moving target, the sights can block too much of your view, making it harder to aim. You can fix this by adding an optic, but that leads to another problem. Unlocking attachments and new weapons takes time. Gun XP and cash come in slowly, and you need to hit a certain player level before you can unlock new guns. While this kind of grind isn't unusual in FPS games, it can feel a bit slow. Now let's talk about the Battle Pass and microtransactions. Polygon doesn't push microtransactions too hard, which is nice. The Battle Pass costs 3,000 crowns, or about $750 US, and gives you skins, some crowns back, and even VIP days if you complete it. You can also pay 6,000 crowns, or about $15, to unlock the first 20 levels instantly. The downside, there's no clear end date for the Battle Pass in the game. You have to join the developer's Discord to find out when the season ends. Adding a visible timer to the game would be a huge improvement. Then there's VIP, which some players will love and others might not. VIP gives big boosts like extra XP for soldiers, weapons, and credits, plus the ability to create your own match. You can buy VIP for different time periods like 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, or 360 days, with prices ranging from $1.30 to $32.50. If you want both VIP and the Battle Pass, it could cost you up to $36.50. Some players may see VIP as a way to speed up the grind, which is helpful if you don't have a lot of time to play. Others might see it as pay to win. Everyone has access to the same items, but non-VIP players will have to grind longer to unlock them. So what do you think? Is a paid XP boost pay to win, or just a way to save time? Let me know down in the comments. Even though Polygon is still in early access, it feels surprisingly complete. The only thing that really gives it that unfinished feel is the limited number of game modes and maps. Honestly, if the early access banner wasn't on the store page, I wouldn't even question it. I just assume it's an indie developer working with limited resources, as most are, focusing on adding more maps, modes, and weapons over time. Polygon is definitely a game I see myself coming back to. I know this because I've already been playing it for hours since finishing the script for this video. Don't worry, this review is still based on my first 2 hours, but honestly, I don't think my opinion would change. If I compare Polygon to Battlefield 2042, I'll say that Battlefield has improved since launch, and I enjoy playing it. But with Polygon, the gameplay is smooth and it's easy to pick up. There's no steep learning curve with weapons, which some might see as a downside, but for others it's a plus. It makes the game feel more like a fun arcade-style shooter without all the complexity that some AAA titles are known for. Some players just want a game they can jump in and enjoy, and Polygon delivers on that front, no question. Let's get down to the final score. Even though Polygon lost a point for having a few dislikes and for lacking depth, it really excelled in every other area. That's why Polygon earns an 8 out of 10, putting it in A tier. If you're thinking about trying Polygon, I've added the links to the store in the description. If you like this video or agree with the A tier rating, hit that like button. If you have a free-to-play game you'd like me to review, or if you plan to play Polygon, let me know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to click the video link on your screen, because the next game might be your new favorite.